see, how do I want to do this? Welcome to another episode of Wisconsin Fishing and Outdoors. Today's a little bit different. This is going to be kind of the first of my short film kind of deals where I'm really trying to really go in depth to this videographing, filming, and documenting and fishing and all that stuff. This is going to be a video about this last weekend and what I did in Milwaukee. Just basically the way that I filmed it, I really wanted to focus on just fishing, and I didn't really talk too much to the camera. Like Louie and I talked a bunch, but you'll see in the video we really tried to focus on catching these fish, and you'll just have to find out how that went in the video. But basically it starts off with me meeting Louie back at the ice fishing show from not this weekend but the last weekend, and I knew Vinny from Fishing with Vinny via Instagram, and we had talked, and we had said, hey, let's meet up at this ice fishing show, we're both going. And he was like, oh yeah man, let's do it. And then there's this guy Louie with them there who was on the UW Whitewater bass fishing team, and he was also a guide for trout, basically the kind of fishing that I'm doing, well, that we did in this video. We said, hey, let's make a video. Let's go out and try and catch these giant trout, because at that time the harbor was still open. He had gone that day and caught this fish basically that same morning, and we were so pumped. We were pumped all week, and then all of a sudden it got to freezing, just 10 degrees, and even some nights it would get to -15. Basically we got there and it was pretty much totally iced up.
We out here, baby. We're out here at the McKinley Marina, and it's cold. It's what degrees is it, you think?
Shit, probably
20 degrees, and we're gonna try and catch some giant, 30 pound, right? You said 30,
yeah.
30 pound brown trout. That would for sure be my PB, because I think my PB brown trout's about 6 ounces. So this will be pretty crazy.
Those guys got one out, I think. They got something action over there.
There's a bunch of people ice fishing, and we found some little open water pockets, but we might end up ice fishing too at the end of the day, it sounds like. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a crazy day, but I got the chesty rolling, so we're gonna see if we can get on some fish.
So basically, again, this was a type of fishing that I'd never done before, and he had been doing for some time, and it was just so interesting to see ice anglers there at the same time, and then us, we were open water anglers who were kind of thinking about ice fishing at the same time. He'd brought his auger and an ice rod, I brought my ice rod, but we decided to just stick to open water angling the whole day. We basically just used shrimp and little finesse jigs. When I say finesse jigs, I mean super finesse, like ice fishing jigs, basically just on the end of a ultralight spinning rod with basically 1,000 size reel on there, just like this. This was actually the reel that I was using in the video. Weird way to fish. I mean, like I said, I've never done anything like this before, so this was all totally new to me. So basically we gave the first spot maybe an hour and a half, and one thing we did get to see the first spot was a huge, and I mean giant, 15-20 pound fish under the ice, actually under the dock. We kind of split up. I was at the first spot trying to catch, there was a bunch of little 2 pound fish that I was missing. Louie went off into a corner, and he basically was saying, hey, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna try and see if there's any big fish over here, because sometimes there are. So he went over there and immediately looks over the dock, and there's a giant 15-pounder and then another one right next to him, a little bit smaller. And so he doesn't like run back because he knows these fish like to move. So he takes off his chest mounted GoPro and puts it in the water, and we get some sick underwater footage, which you'll see right now. So he immediately, after he gets the footage, he runs back, and I run back over there, and we're like, we have to catch this fish. So we're dinking around with that fish for like maybe half an hour. It was crazy. Like, we couldn't get him to bite. He like put it right in front of their face, and there's just nothing. So we ended up leaving that first spot, and we left fish. That, I think, was our biggest mistake of the whole entire day, was we left that first spot. Like, I know the fish weren't biting, but at the same time, there were fish there. We knew there were fish there. We probably saw like 10, 15 fish in that area that just didn't bite. And then you'll see later on why that was such a big mistake. So then Louie says, I got another spot. It's by Discovery World, actually, in Milwaukee, and there's some warm water pumps there too, and there's a lot of current, and immediately it looks awesome. There's a bridge, there's rocks, and immediately I start thinking smallmouth. Like, there's rocks, there's current, and I immediately take out the jerkbait. So I'm throwing this jerkbait, and I get thumped. Like, I get slammed by a giant fish, and I don't think it really turned out too great. So I get slammed there, and I know there's fish there, and I still think it was a pike. Louie thought it was a trout, but I'm like 99% sure that it was a giant pike. So then we're fishing there for a little bit longer, and we see like 20-pound fish coming through, like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I'm pointing them out. I'm like, dude, there's a giant. So I start throwing a flicker shad, and I immediately get just giant bird's nest. Stick around that spot for a little bit longer. He's still throwing the shrimp on the float setup. Let's give this spot a little bit of time, and then we'll walk out to the end of this point. So we get out and we walk out to the end of this point. We give up on the current spot onto the bridge, and we get up and we walk out, and immediately we see there's no path. It's just rocks. We turned around and we left because we didn't want to break our ankles or whatever. And so we left that spot completely, and we left fish there again, but there were much fewer fish there than there were at the first spot. Then we start like ditzing around Milwaukee, like looking for more open water. We go over to the home bridge, I think it's called, the giant bridge over the Kinnicki River. It's all frozen. Like, it's totally frozen. We thought this is going to be the one spot where it's just going to be open because there's current. No, just totally frozen. We look out. I mean, we walk along the bank a little bit, trying to find like some pumps, like discharges, whatever. Can't find it. We look up on Google Maps. The nearest warm water discharge is like a half hour away, and we're like, there's no way that we're driving that far. So anyways, we decided to go back to the first spot, and immediately when we get back, there's people in the spot that we were seeing fish the first time. We're like, oh no. It's not so much that they spot burned us, obviously, because we weren't there. I mean, they just happened to come by, but we were still kind of salty because we were like, that was going to be our spot, man. And he said that these fish turned on a little bit more in the afternoon than in the morning. We took his rods and we ended up dead sticking 2 rods. We put one in this corner, like packed it with snow so the drag would just go and it wouldn't fall over or anything. We took another rod, same thing, dead sticked it in the snow, and he actually drilled a hole in the ice and we put it down there or whatever. And then we started walking up and down this wall of like this basically metal wall in this harbor, and we could see trout running the wall or whatever, and I started throwing this jig and immediately one turns on it. So he starts coming at it. Like I'm like, oh my god, this is it. I'm gonna catch one of these things, and all of a sudden it's just gone. And I was like, oh no. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. That was it. Like that. I thought he turned on, he started coming at it, and it looked like any other fish that I would have seen come at that. I would have been like, he's gonna eat it. And I thought that about this fish too, and he just didn't. Like, I was so mad. I was like, this is it. Like that was it. Like that was my one shot, and I blew it. I don't know what I did, if I just worked the jig a little bit wrong, but he was interested and I blew it. Anyways, maybe like 45 seconds after this happens, Louie hears bells down at the end of the dock. And usually what that means is somebody's got a rod rigged up with bells and a float. And when the fish pulls the float under, the bells go off. And we're like, oh, they got a fish. We both start running down there, and Louie says, I'm going to go grab the net. So we run down there, and it turns out they already had one. So Louie didn't really get to see the fish too much. But here's the fish that this guy down at the end of the dock caught.
Get that fish. Jake. There he goes. We got to see one then, at least.
Running in that snow.
I know, it sucks.
The reason I'm putting this in the video is because it was the only time we could see one of these beasts out of the water and in someone's hands. And then, so after this guy catches this fish, we start walking back to our spot where we had the 2 rods dead staked. And we'd been gone for maybe like 5 minutes, and one rod is just totally bent, like not bent over, but just it's pushed down into the snow pile. And I didn't actually see this. I don't think I got it on camera, but Louie saw it, and he immediately runs over, sets hook, and it just flies out. And he said that this one, the rod, the float was in the water, and the rod was totally over. And just, I was like, that was it. And then we had nothing after that. Just like no activity whatsoever. No fish turned on our baits. We had nothing happen. And the guys down from us didn't happen either. And we didn't have any activity except for that 6-minute window. Except for the one time where I got slammed by a pike. But the trout only turned on for 6 minutes in 6 hours. That's crazy. And like, that's such a weird way to fish for me, because yeah, bass bites will turn on and off, but they're usually on for most of the day, and then they're off for like little windows. But this was just this 6-minute flurry of activity and then nothing. We had nothing the rest of the day, and it was just such a weird experience. And I've definitely never experienced anything like that in all the times I've been fishing, and I've never been so frustrated but excited at the end of the day, because it was an awesome experience. We got to see these gorgeous fish, one of them out of the water. It was super nice of him to take me out and kind of show me the ropes of this kind of fishing. I would absolutely do it again. I would recommend it to anybody who's in for a challenge, because it's definitely challenging, but it's so exciting. Like when you see a 20-30 pound fish coming up on your bait and then just turn away, yeah, it's dejecting, but your heart rate gets so up and you get this like huge adrenaline rush and you're just ready to set hook. And it's something maybe I will definitely try and do again. Not sure if it'll happen this year, but I'm really excited to get out on the hard water. And thank you guys for watching this first kind of short film thing that I'm trying to do. Thank you so much. I hope this camera angle didn't get too dull. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. Also, there are Wisconsin Fishing and Outdoor shirts linked below. They're not available for delivery yet, but you can pre-order them. I'll get them to you as soon after I get back from this trip in early January. But please support the channel. It'll be everything that goes into that fun that those shirts come out of goes right back into this channel, goes right back into fishing equipment, and goes right back into travel and all that good stuff. So Thank you guys so much for watching and all the support on the past couple videos. It's been absolutely insane. We'll see you next time on Wisconsin Fishing and Outdoors.